Peace family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I want to do is I want to talk to my chosen ones about observing your decision making, the seesawing process. You know what I'm saying? That's what I've been calling it. It's a lot of different names or whatever people want to do with it. But the seesawing process. So I've been just diving into my own shit that I've been having going on and just, doing some research and comparing notes. And I realized, we have a seesawing process that we do when we're in the process of making really big decisions, and not as much with the small decisions, but we make them with the small decisions too. It's just a smaller seesaw. Big seesaw, small seesaw. But the seesaw in decision making, right? When I was processing, I had a situation where, and I'm going to break it down for you. So I had a situation to where I was in my town and I was supposed to be waiting in town for my nephew to get in town, but I wanted to linger, and I think I kind of told a little bit of it, but I didn't break it down the same way. And I was at one of my people's house who decided to have, family day. I don't want to call it turkey day or any of that other shit, so family day. But it was just him and his grandma stopped by there. So when I talked to my nephew when I was about to leave my man's spot, I was in my spirit world, I was I'm gonna just go up to my lake spot that I know that was right around the corner. I was going to film. That usually take me about anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, just depending on my process, even though y'all only get 15 minutes of it. And I was starting the process. I was all right, this is what I'm gonna do to make sure I can make this time, because nephew gonna be in town in a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so my first initial thought process when building that blueprint was, I'm gonna leave my associate spot and then I'm gonna ride up to the lake. When I get to the lake, it usually take me about 10-15 minutes to figure out what I'm going to discuss or talk about. Just get into my space, meditate, do whatever I do, and then I film. That usually can take anywhere between the time it takes that you guys see. And then from there, sometimes I ponder a little bit afterwards, just because it's like a release of energy, because you have to control your energy as well, as far as doing this in front of the camera without a million takes, you know what I'm saying? And you just have to be very precise. And this was my process, right? And I'm all right, well, I'm going to ride up there. So I left his spot and I started riding up there. But my energy was really off. So because my energy was off, it was making me second guess my initial plan, and it started reformulating another plan. Even though I'm still headed up to the lake is probably about 10 minutes from where I was at. I get all the way up to the lake, almost turned into the turn I need to take to go into the lake, and instead I turned around. I went with option B, which was to go back to the spot and do some other work in the computer and just kind of fix my energy, because it was a weird time that all of this was happening. So this is all prior. So I was just really trying to focus on fixing my energy, and in the midst of me leaving the lake and going back into town, and I'm still seesawing the thought process, damn, the universe sent me out here, you should have stayed out here and filmed. But I'm seesawing as I'm on my way back, all right, well, since you are leaving here and you didn't film here, you got another location that's on the way back to the spot that you could stop at too, But even though that option came in, my spirit and my heart did not want to stop at that location either. It wanted to get straight back to the spot. So I get on the interstate. Within 3 minutes of me being on the interstate, I got pulled over. You know what I'm saying? And it was some easy preventable shit that was fixed, and it wasn't even speeding. It was just the way the universe be setting shit up for certain beings. It's it tells us we know what we're supposed to be doing. We have to go with that first option. See, the thing is with us in our thought process, a lot of our information that we receive is from the light side. It's from the more natural organic flow. The first process is usually something more beneficial towards us, and for the ones around us. But then when we have that saw bounce, that's the opposition. It don't always have to be the opposition. It could be just the reality of looking at the other side of things as well too, you know what I'm saying? But when you start feeling more feed, it started getting fed and pushed more, that's when you know it's the opposition feeding it, because it's not always the opposition. Sometimes it's just reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, you touch a fire and you burn your hand, and it ain't have nothing to do with the opposition burning you. You touch the fire. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the whole overall process. But then the seesaw hit, and I went with option B. And I done this little test several times. I don't want to say numerous of times, because like it's really been like within the year that I've started doing this kind of testing within myself. Because when you are self-aware on another level, even though you're still a spiritual being having a human experience, you're really aware to a whole nother degree of everything that's happening around you, and you're super aware of all your actions and your intentions. You know what I'm saying? So when I got pulled, I wasn't even mad. It was like, the universe told me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was supposed to go with option A. And then I had the same thing happen a couple days ago, and it's crazy because I wasn't even asking for the test, but it was the universe just sent pop quizzes, you know what I'm saying? It may not even be a big test, it's just a pop quiz to see, are you still on your toes? You know what I'm saying? And I was about to go through the seesaw process again, and I caught myself, because I had an example, a hard stamped example of seesawing. So even though my next situation I had was smaller than that one, I didn't seesaw it. I took the time to process my decision making, and I was like, all right, well, this one, the first one was more healthier, beneficial, and it was more like that had to do with building more towards the future. You know, it's just the best word I could think of right now. It's just, it's way more beneficial. You know what I'm saying? And the other one was fed the other shit, I don't feel like going out film right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, my energy is off. I just want to go get my energy together, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like this whole process I was going through in the saw, you know what I'm saying? And the other weight was hitting me like, all right, well, you know what you're supposed to be doing, you know? And I went with option B, you know? And I was reminded of the seesaw process, you know what I'm saying? Usually, for us that's super self-aware, we on a percentage scale, because I'm gonna fix my words, on a percentage scale, at least 95 to 98% of the time we right, you know, or we should be doing what our first choice or option was, you know what I'm saying? But because we have free will and choice, we don't have to go with the first one, you know? And if we are more willing to go with the second one, then that's what we'll do. Or if the second one is easier, or sometimes you may not want to, and you feel like you're getting manipulated over into this space because you're already in aware space, you know what I'm saying? So you have to be aware of your decision making in the seesawing process, you know what I'm saying? I bounced it back and forth, and I know a lot of other beings have this same process, you know what I'm saying? We bouncing our thoughts back and forth, and then a situation happens, it'd be like, oh, I should have went with option A. I knew option A was it the whole time, but then in my world, I created an option B and an option C, you know what I'm saying? And if I didn't create an option B and C, something was given to me that option B and C was there, you know what I'm saying? But if you're in the Western world, it's enough distractions out here that you have to stay laser focused. So it's always going to be an option B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. It's going to be always all of these options, you know what I'm saying? And that's where the hard part of the fight comes in at as well, too, that don't really have that much to do with you being attacked. It's just being laser focused in a society where there's a lot of witchy shit going around us, you know what I'm saying? It's all kind of weird energy everywhere. Like, I went to my daughter's school, and it was like they had some auditorium thing going on, so half of her cafeteria was cut off. I just pop in for lunch for her from time to time, and I went in there, and it was like I asked her if she wanted to wait and sit at one of the big tables, or if she wanted me to sit at one of the little tables with her and her little friends she sit with and stuff. So she like, yeah, I want you to sit with me and my friends. So I sit over there with her and her little friends, you know what I'm saying? And the kids always love me. They always love me. It don't matter where I'm at. It doesn't matter where I'm at. But the kids over there, her friends and stuff, all at the table. We all talking. And everybody had chocolate milk. So I decided to, they was talking about chocolate milk and asking me stuff. So, and saying something about it. And I was just telling them, like, you know, chocolate milk is really baby cow food. You know, that's what the milk is. The milk is baby cow food. The chocolate's the sugar added for the extra sweetener for you to boost you all the way up. I didn't give that much detail, but yeah, that's baby cow food. We can call it all these other names, you know what I'm saying? But in my world, I almost went through that seesaw process even in the school with her. You know what I'm saying? Even with just giving that little lesson, because you don't have to say anything, you know what I'm saying? But if they all talking and I'm at the table, then it's my job to drop at least one lesson down. It's my job to drop at least one lesson down. I don't give a damn what kind of fun you having or entertaining. I'll figure out a way to incorporate a lesson, and then we can get back to having fun. Because after the lesson, it was like, the teacher came over because I had pulled my phone out. They were like, I don't know about the phones and the technology policy. How about I check on that for you and I'll get back to you on that. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And then before the technology thing, they want to keep running over telling the kids to sit down. It's like, they only trying to sit closer to me. It wasn't like they was trying to rip and run all over the place. But it's like, the teachers and everybody, they also know the vibes too. You know what I'm saying? As long as you stand as solid, you know what I'm saying, on your soul, you know what I'm saying? Because you already know it's gonna give if you get off. But if that weight is over there, you know what I'm saying, you get to sit up there. But if you at the bottom, then you can control it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? If I'm on the seesaw, somebody else is on the other seesaw. As long as I got my feet on the ground, I can always bounce that shit a little bit more the way I want to. I don't have to go super high. You know what I'm saying? You get a little bit more of a percentage of control on the seesaw. You know what I'm saying? So just being aware of these things going on internally. And it also helps you understand which playbook you're using. Because if your first decision is telling you, so for me, okay, I'm doing this, I'm filming, and my first decision wasn't to go to the lake. Say my first decision was, I want to go over to this shorty house or something. I automatically know, if that's my first thought process, I know where that's coming from. That's coming from the witchy playbook. Because that's not really beneficial to me unless I'm building with that being over there. You know what I'm saying? So if that's an afterthought, my second thought, if that's the B, C, E, F, G, then I know where that shit is definitely coming from. You know what I'm saying? But these are the kind of things that help you be mindful of, like, what's feeding you and what things you have roaming around in your spiritual realm. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to have times like today, yesterday, tomorrow, where you're going to be sitting there seesawing. Do I want this food or do I want that food? Go with option A. We have too many choices in the Western world, so don't make it as difficult as you can make it for yourself. And that's one thing about us over here, is we have too many damn choices. You know what I'm saying? We got to start simplifying things. So if you are somebody who is with a partner or with somebody, or you just in a space yourself and you like to seesaw back and forth about booze and what you want to eat, then take your first option. Take your first option. If you know your first option is more healthier or it's more fulfilling to you, meaning like spiritually, we also do rituals with our food as well too. You know what I'm saying? We can eat, quote unquote, this trash shit that's unhealthy, but spiritually we can still maintain our balance within because of how we process our food and how we think about it and how it goes down. You know what I'm saying? Not saying you thinking about every single bite, but I know for me, before I eat something, that I know all this shit is witchy for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I know I'm in great health. You know what I'm saying? And I know I'm only eating this right now because I don't have access to the other stuff that is more beneficial for me. You know what I mean? So just to kind of help keep yourself from the seesaw process. You know what I'm saying? Just be mindful of these decisions you're making. Understand which playbook is coming from. If your first option is more beneficial for you and your family and the ones around you and your lifestyle, then more than likely that first option is coming from, you already know, the greater good. You know what I'm saying? The greater good. If that shit is some distraction shit, some offsetting shit, some shit gonna slow you down, some witchy shit, you already know where that is coming from. You know what I'm saying? So just be mindful of what you got going on and you will have a lot of decisions to make, and you will have a lot of choices. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't want to run it up too long. Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.